Slava Isusu Christus, Slava Navika, glory be to Jesus Christ, glory be forever. This is Father Basil. And just thinking about some things today. Obviously, as a priest, we're always thinking about how to avoid sin. And I'll both to teach to the people that I preach to and my own personal spiritual life. How do you avoid sinfulness? How do you avoid temptations? And how do we make sure that we always do the right thing at all times according to God's eyes? So I'm reading this reflection from CatholicDailyReflections.com, and it says avoidance of sin. And the gospel verse is this, from Matthew. If your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one of your members than to have your whole body thrown into Gehenna. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. Does Jesus really mean this, literally? We can be certain that this language, which is shocking, is not a literal command, but is rather a symbolic statement, commanding us to avoid sin with great zeal, to avoid all that leads to us to sin. The eye can be understood as a window to our soul, where our thoughts and desires reside. The hand can be seen as a symbol of our actions. Thus, we must eliminate every thought, affection, desire, and action that leads us to sin. The true key to understanding this passage is to allow ourselves to be affected by the powerful language that Jesus uses. He does not hesitate to speak in a shocking way, so as to reveal to us the calling we have to confront with much zeal that which leads to sin in our lives. Pluck it out, cut it off, he says. In other words, eliminate your sin and all that leads you to sin in a definitive way. The eye and the hand are not sinful in and of themselves. Rather, in this symbolic language, they are spoken of as those things that lead to sin. Therefore, if certain thoughts or certain actions lead you to sin, these are the areas to target and to eliminate. Regarding our thoughts, sometimes we can allow ourselves to dwell excessively upon this or that. As a result, these thoughts can lead us to sin. The key is to pluck out that initial thought that produces the bad fruit. Regarding our actions, we can at times put ourselves in situations that tempt us and lead to sin. These occasions of sin must be cut off from our lives. Reflect today upon this very direct and powerful language of our Lord. Let the forcefulness of his words be an impetus for change and avoidance of all sin. Lord, I am sorry for my sin. I ask for your mercy and forgiveness. Please help me to avoid all that leads me to sin and to surrender all my thoughts and actions to you every day. Jesus, I trust in you. So, this is a very important reflection that we should all really do. How do we avoid sin? What are we doing in our lives to walk away from sin? In our society today, it's so easy to fall in with the group. If everyone is doing something sinful, we can just kind of let our guard down and say, well, everyone else is doing it, so I can just do it too. And that's unfortunate that we are just basically just following the lead of society, whether it's addictions or sexual sins or how we live our day-to-day life, lack of prayer, how any sin against the commandments, really. We just, our world is just saying, well, it doesn't really matter what you do. You're free to do what you want. God is going to forgive you anyways, so it doesn't matter what you do. And it does, God gave you all this stuff in the world to enjoy, so just enjoy it all. Just do whatever you want to make you happy, and everything will be okay. Well, that's not really how it works. We really have to think about what we're doing and avoid those occasions of sin. Not to be around people who cause us to sin, not to be around people who do things that are tempting to us. And this takes courage on our part. This takes a lot of courage to do things differently than what other people do. Because, again, in our society today, we don't want to be isolated from others. We don't want to be different from others. We want to be the same as everyone else. We just want to do the things they do, and just, not to be ostracized and not to be made that we are different, feel that we are different than others. But as a Christian, unfortunately, we have to make decisions. We have to make decisions that are pleasing to God. And sometimes that means if we are doing decisions pleasing to God, we have to go against what the world tells us. We have to go against the values of this world and turn to the values of God. And this is so difficult for everyone, priests included, bishops and pope, doesn't matter. Because it's so easy to fall into that trap. To say, well, again, everyone else is doing it, so I can just do it too. Again, whether it's harming our body, harming our soul through our actions, it doesn't matter what sin it is. To me, all sin is separates us from God. It doesn't matter what sin it is, and all sin it hurts our relationship with one another and with God. It doesn't matter what sin it is. Every sin we commit is an offense against God and hurts our relationship with one another. So, it doesn't matter what sin we commit against the commandments. If we are thinking, if we are selfish, if we are not thinking about others before we do it, if we're only thinking about ourselves, if we are doing this sin to make ourselves look better, if we are doing this sin to get that pleasure, and not thinking about anyone else, well, that's harmful. It's really harmful. So we gotta be so careful about that. Anyways, that's all I'm gonna talk about today. God bless you. Have a good day.